we go. Hello, my darling Fumi Nation. How are you? How are we? My name is Fumidesaluvold. For those of you that are stopping by for the very first time, you're so very welcome indeed. I am wearing one of my old DVF dresses and the collar is supposed to be popped out. But when I was getting dressed, I accidentally swiped it and it has like a whole brown foundation makeup stain. So I just tucked it in and I thought, you know what, let me just wear my Ula and Adrian necklaces since we're talking about family. But before we start, I want to give a shout out to a small YouTuber of which I have promised to do on a regular basis. So it will not be every day, but it will be for sure every week. And so we have the wonderful Being Lenora. Being Lenora is a beautiful young girl. I was just looking at her channel. She's so gorgeous, but she has here feeling low. And I felt really bad. I really felt bad for her. And I hope this picks her up. Her channel is a fashion and lifestyle channel. And I think that she is from Africa. Yes, baby. And she is a registered nurse as well as a mommy. Baby girl. So you gotta pick up. So let me tell you something, darlings. Since I'm a big auntie out here in these streets of 55, I'm going to be 56 in April. Yes, in April. Tough times happen, baby. We already see what's happening out in California. My heart goes out to California. My heart goes out to moms that have children with special needs and are displaced. Back to Leona. Congratulations, baby. This is what we call life. Life is tough. And so you just have to be able to swoop in and out of it. You never give up. You never, ever give up. Like I've said many times, as far as I'm concerned, now it's getting sexy. It's to teach you something. To teach you something that you're going to use further down. I think that you are wonderful. And my mother wanted me to be a nurse. Yes. And I have the greatest respect for the medical field. As you know, my dad's a doctor. And so, Leona, I wish you all the very best. Fumi Nation, go and support her. Tell her you're from Fumi Nation and brighten up her day. Okay? All right, my darling. So why are we here? Oh, wow. Well, last week I talked about Alison Hawker's book release and the interview that she did with People magazine.
Moment I was with one of my really dear friends and we were cleaning out the closet and picking out an outfit for him for the funeral. And it was a really triggering moment for me because there was a lot of things I discovered in our closet that I did not know existed. And it was very alarming to me to learn that there was so much happening that I had no clue. So it was a really scary moment in my life to figure that out, but it also helped me process that he was going through so much and he was hiding so much, and there must have been a lot of shame in that, and he was wrestling with a lot inside himself, and he was trying to self-medicate and cope with all those feelings because he didn't want to put it on anyone. Because he loved everyone so much. He didn't want other people to take on his pain. But it was very alarming and scary to find those things and have never known.
Of course, she was talking about her ex-husband, of whom she has 2 children, as well as her daughter that Stephen also adopted. I had talked about how I did not think that the NDA was appropriate for the mother.
It's cool to make his mama sign an NDA to see his body.
Yeah, I do.
Oh my God.
I would do it again. I would do it again every single day for the rest of my life if I needed to.
To see his
I
body.
would again and again and again.
Why would she need to sign an NDA to see his body?
It's great. But also, I don't understand how y'all don't understand that Stevens even asked her to do it.
He didn't ask her to sign.
I would do it again. I would do it again every single day for the rest of my life if I needed to.
You hear that? You hear that?
Again and again and again.
Why would she need to sign an NDA to see his body?
It's great. But also, I don't understand how y'all don't understand.
I got your ass. I told you.
He didn't ask her to sign the NDA to see his body.
What's this?
Do you understand what I'm
also,
saying?
did anyone ever tell you?
What's this?
In a party, an NDA for a party, NDAs for a party.
And asking his mother to sign it?
No. It's not the same thing. I have had the NDA to go to the funeral. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I just said Stevens asked her, have to sign an NDA. Nah, Did you know this?
That's different than signing the
And
NDA.
no. That came from Steven.
I'm asking you. You would never post a picture of Steven in the thing, right? Picture Steven in the casket, right?
Yeah, but I'm also in the industry and I know that. And also, I don't know all the people that were in that way. By the way, because you're asking this question trying to set me up, I didn't know the people that were.
No,
in my
I'm not
set
trying
me
to
up.
set you up. I'm asking you. You would never post a picture of Steven in the thing, right? So if you say you wouldn't, why would you think that Connie would do that? That's what I'm asking you.
I was also going off of advice from people. So I don't know. I've never done this before. I don't know why everyone expects me to have done this before. But also, just so you know, by the way, meanwhile, do you know that Steven has asked Connie to sign an NDA before? This was not her first time signing an NDA. I don't know if you knew this.
I mean, I've signed NDAs before. I think it's more.
Connie had to sign an NDA to go to one of our parties. Did you know this?
That's different than signing an
And
NDA.
No. That came from Steven. And Steven wasn't like, don't make my mom have to sign an NDA. No. Connie had to sign an NDA for Steven to come to a party, and Steven asked her to sign it.
Allison, I'm saying.
So this is not. So don't.
I'm saying her signing an NDA. I'm saying her signing an NDA to see her son's body. Her signing an NDA to go to the funeral. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I just said Stevens asked her before she could come into a party.
That's different. You don't understand how that's different?
Okay, so wait, why was Steven wrong in asking his mother to
No.
party?
It's not the same thing. I've had family sign NDAs for like different things. I'm talking about to make his mama. So you telling me you don't see the difference in a party? An NDA for a party, Allison, other than...
Okay, well, I know this. I'll say this.
Then making his mama see his...
Steven would definitely have my family... By the way, my family also had an NDA, no questions asked. It doesn't matter who it is. It was protecting Steven, and it was the right choice.
You think that was protecting Steven, making his mama...
Pause. It don't matter who it is, she said. It don't matter who it is, she said. Let's keep it going. Because apparently that woman seeing her son's body is equivalent to going to a party. Lord Jesus, help me keep my spirit right.
On NDA.
Context of
to see his body?
So it was a good choice for me.
To see his body.
I've been celebrating.
That was protecting Steven, making his mama sign an NDA.
Context of
to see his body?
So it was a good choice for me.
To see his body.
I've been celebrating. Outside y'all, I have been celebrated from how I've handled this and protected Steven.
Listen, you actually think that it is cool to make his mama sign an NDA to see his body?
Yeah, I do.
Oh my God.
I would do it again. I would do it again every single day for the rest of my life if I needed to.
Y'all heard that? So, come for me. I told you what was going to happen. I told you.
I am very fair, but Allison, the family was right. It doesn't matter what disputes you guys had. I don't know what they are, and you might be right. But the thing is, it was a matter of protecting your own. And I say that because if this was your son, would you have exposed him to? You wouldn't. You wouldn't have done it. That's your son. And Stefan is also somebody's son. It's the greatest sadness for a mother, a parent, to bury their child. And that is what Stefan's mother had to do. Needless to say, there's been a lot of developments since then, and Weslie, who is Allison's daughter, has come out to speak in the defense of her mom.
These are all people that I've grown up with, and to see them now act different for social media, it's like, I don't know. And I'm trying to be respectful, but I just think it's complicated because I speak to Steven's moms. Like, my mom and her were speaking weekly at some point. And I don't know if it's still like that. Like, me and my mom haven't talked about it. But since Steven died, I feel like I've seen his family more than when he was alive. We would only see them once or twice a year. But you guys have to understand that it's because they live in another state. Like, and things happen. Like, we literally live in another state, and it's not like we're neighbors. It's not like we could just see them whenever we wanted. And now, like, my mom's constantly making the effort so that the kids are a part of, or not the kids are a part of their, wait, I was about to mess up my words. So the kids are a part of their lives. I don't make the effort, but that's just how I am. I feel disrespected by them, so I'm not going to talk to them. There are points where, like, the brothers would reach out to me, like my uncles and Connie, they'd be texting me, but I don't talk to them anymore. I feel completely disrespected. They've gone on social media saying that blood's thicker than whatever, and that's a direct dig at me and my mom. And if you don't see me as Steven's daughter, that's cool. That's, like, take it how you want. That I know for a fact that's never how he saw it, and it's literally just hurtful. I love to argue about the NDAs. Basically, not backstory, because, like, that's what the whole story is, but in one day, we had an open casket, like, viewing for Steven. We had a funeral, and then we had a wake. And my mom asked for NDAs to be signed when we were seeing Steven's body, because God forbid somebody that went to that took a photo of Steven and put it on the internet, or, you know, shared it with somebody else. That's the type of things that NDAs are for. It's not so you can never talk about Steven, you can't ever talk about, you know, you grieving him, you can't post about it. That's not what it is. And for all the people saying it, I just feel like you're uneducated. I'm sorry, but, like, truly, I'm fed up, because NDAs are so important. And if you guys don't agree, that's cool. I'm grateful for my mom making sure that everybody signed NDAs. That whole day was supposed to be beautiful, and instead it was less than that. Like, we were gonna say our goodbyes, and instead people were yelling at each other and bashing my mom, and, like, that's a day that's taken away from her, and she can't remember it as being the day that we all wanted it to be, because his family was making it otherwise. And, like, when I say that this day, like, it's imprinted onto my brain, like, one, because I had to say goodbye to the person that I loved and valued, but then on top of that, I'm having to deal with seeing my mom go through so much. Like, it's a different type of hurt, because these are people that we're supposed to love and value, and yet they're constantly doing things that make me see them as, like, less. Like, they're the ones impacting that image, but they're also the ones taking onto social media. So I just don't get it. I don't know where it started, but I'm constantly getting comments being like, your mom didn't let Connie see the body for 3 weeks and something like that. But it's like, everybody who wanted to see the body had access to that information. My mom didn't want to. My mom, she stayed out of that. My mom didn't want anything to do, because that's a traumatizing thing. And so somebody else had that information to go and see Steven's body from after he died until he was, like, you know, like, they fixed up how he looked and stuff. But until that point, I remember, like, conversations being had of, like, Connie asking about it, but then everybody, literally everybody, being, like, advising against it, because that's, like, that's your son, you might not want to go see him. But with that all being said, she could have completely on her own terms gone and seen him. My mom never said that Steven was an addict. Let me say that. Never said that he was an addict. But if y'all want to take a headline for a news article and turn that into being the thing that you're paying attention to most, that's literally on you, right? But in our house, how he ran things, like, I'm his kid. He was trying to, like, teach me and educate, like, obviously, like, be that fatherly role, right? So he'd be open and vulnerable about him smoking weed. Also, my mom's not calling him a terrible person for smoking weed. Like, guys, let's get it together. But when you have 2 years after somebody committed suicide to sit here and question every interaction you had, every single thing they did, obviously my mom's like, maybe I should have paid more attention.
Let me start by saying, what do you expect? First and foremost, what do you expect? That is her mom, and this is her daughter. What do you expect? I'm just trying to understand what's going on here. On top of which, Stephen and Alison were husband and wife. We can sit out here all day and speculate and come out with all kinds of theories, this, that, and the third. We will never know. I will never know. You will never know. We will never know. It will only be those two that will know. And even with those two, there are things that Stephen kept away from her, and there are things that Alison never ever knew. Do I think that she should have written the book? I think that she should have written the book. She has a right to talk about the book and about her experience, because like I said in the previous episode, Stephen is part of her story. Stephen is part of her story. The only humbling little part of which I don't know the whole story, I felt that, and that's with me, I would not reveal anything about my husband, most especially the way that he passed. I would have kept that to me. But again, like I said, I am stuck here and I'm mad because you and I promised forever. You and I said we're going to build a family, and then you left me here to pick up all of the pieces. And so we have Weslie, who is still relatively young. And Weslie, baby girl, I wish you the best. I cannot begin to imagine what you are going through because you have to be big mommy now. I apologize right here and now that you have to hear about you not being Stephen's real daughter. I am sorry that some people are that insensitive and clueless and ignorant to have said that out loud for you to hear. You are Stephen's daughter. And the takeaway from this also is that you were the last person he spoke to. And he said, I wish I could be your Superman. He will always be your Superman. And those wings will cover you, your brother and sister, and your mom. You don't know me from a can of paint. We are just out here trying to calm down a situation. Well, for me anyway, calm down a situation. And let us not presume that we were right there at your cookout. We were not. And so the greatest respect to whatever you have been going through, your mom and your brother and sister. We don't know. It's been 2 years. I can't imagine how one day spills into the next. Having said that, Weslie, let me humbly advise, do not make any more statements. And I know you did it to defend your mom. You know why? Because you're going to reveal things that we don't know, that people don't know, and assume that you should be this, that, and the third. You circle back and focus with your mom, and focus with your brother and sister, and focus with family. Family is very funny. All of us have it. Anybody that says different, please step to the side. I accept the fact that you have not seen family members in a while because they do not live close by. Your adoptive dad has died. It sounds strange. It does sound strange to us, because if that's a man who has said, this is my daughter, then we are wondering, why are you referring to him as Stephen? And that is not blaming you. Some people will say the dynamic of this family ain't it. That's why I'm saying, save yourself the breath and don't bother, because you revealed that to us in trying to justify other things. That's one. Anywhere in this world, you're black, anywhere, Africa to America, anywhere. Grandmother, your adopted dad's mama, you can't call her Connie. It just didn't sit right with my ears. I promise you, baby girl, and I live for you. Grandma Connie, Miss Connie, I am 55. I'm older than your mom, and I would never call Stephen's mother Connie. These are things that maybe Stephen allowed in the dynamic of his home. We did not know that. None of our business. But the thing is that Stephen isn't here now, your dad. And so when we hear this, we're not sure exactly what this is supposed to be, and you are instantly shut down because nobody wants to hear the rest of what you've got to say. Do you understand? And I wish, and I don't know whether your mom knew that you were doing this, but I wish that somebody had known this to say, you know what, Wesley, not gonna work, leave it. I also believe you that perhaps now, because of what family members have said, that now it's a soft and sensitive spot because you're not going to see them as is if they're not going to see you as that. I also believe you that at the funeral, this thing went left and it was a different kind of hurt because it was Stephen. And I can't imagine because there, right there, and I'm standing on business, Stephen's family, that was wrong. That was wrong. That was wrong. Even though you were being wronged, somebody has got to be the adult in the room. You could not just step to the side and bury your brother, your nephew, your son, and be zen about it and let him have his last goodbye. You could not do that. Any which way you want to look at this, Alison is the wife. She's the wife that gave birth to these children. She is the living parent and she can do whatever she wants. And if she doesn't want them to see you after you've treated her a certain way, you're not going to see them. This is just facts. That's how I feel about it. Somebody has to step aside, regardless of how much resentment you might have for Alison, regardless of the fact that maybe Alison went left and gave the mama an NDA, of which I do not approve, because as far as I'm concerned, Stephen has passed now. Stephen is no longer with us. Let Mama Stephen come through and let her say goodbye to her son. I am a mother of a son too. And I promise you, that would be a different kind of hurt, regardless if Stephen gave her an NDA to come to parties. I can understand your reasoning because you felt, well, she already had an NDA way back. How different is this? It's different because it's the mama. I also understand, Alison, where you are coming from, that people might want to take a picture of him the way that he was because you had an open casket. Alison, I understand to protect him. I understand you're trying to protect the children. Upon reflection, when I came back from the last episode, I said to myself, maybe Alison had to say certain things because there have been certain things that have been out there and she has to protect her children. I empathize with you because I don't really think you expected this kind of backlash. And I understand how hurt, how lost, how betrayed that you might have felt. But there are a lot of things out there also that are saying, well, you know what, it could have been A, B, or C. Maybe she didn't really love him. Maybe she didn't. I don't believe that. I really don't believe that. And I will stand on business again in this episode. If Stephen could get up right now, he would tell us to walk right out of his house and should mind our business. Because it's coming all after the fact. Talking about, well, you know, it was her gun and she might have had something to do with it, this, that, and we don't know anything. And if she had anything to do with it, you do not think that this would not have been an investigation? The more you say this, families on both sides, the more you pour this hatred online, it's impossible for you to come together and mend ways for the two younger babies. I say that only because Weslie is a little older, but think of the younger ones. This is what is going to be left for them. Are you forgetting we're going to die off? Do you think that we're going to live here forever? We're not going to live here forever. These children are going to be here longer than us, hopefully. And this is what we are leaving because somebody in the room did not know how to behave, just to stand up and say, my condolences, and just step to the side and leave whatever differences for another day. You could not do that. You could not do that. And that's sad. I don't know Stephen. I liked him. I liked him because I saw him on Ellen DeGeneres show. And he was also on something dance. I don't know him personally. I am not the wife. I don't know what brand of toothpaste he used or what kind of breakfast he likes. Alison knew that. and she did a step and repeat, and she had children with him. Something is not right in the milk. It went left somewhere. That's where we should start. But somebody has to stand up and be mature about this. Weslie, no more public service announcements, please. Allison, please be considerate of his family, because everybody is hurting. Everybody is hurting. Everybody is hurting. You can imagine the magnitude, the world, when this news broke, the vast majority showed empathy and love for you through the power, through the sheer power and influence of Stephen. That's his legacy. It will never tarnish. It will never die. Let us uphold that. Start there. It's turning into a circus. Everybody wants their say and their moment. It's in very bad taste. And I am so disappointed. I am terribly disappointed because there are children involved. I am a mother and I am in a relationship of a mixed marriage. Never ever, never ever. You can say anything to me. You can do anything to me. My husband, I will shut my mouth. I will shut my mouth. That's the dignity, because I am Mrs. Vold. First before Desalu. That's my maiden name. But I'm Mrs. Vold. I was married to this man. Whatever happened, my dignity has to stay intact because of Adrian. Do not forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you sooner than later. With all of my love.
Masquerading as noise. 10 million people waking up, and somehow I'm the lucky guy who gets to make you a coffee cup. And if I ever forget what matters most, if I am giving up the ghost, remind me, babe, and I will do my best to recall. And if I stumble and fall, if I make a mess of it all, remind me, babe, and I will do my best to recall. This city can be hard and unforgiving. You better know who you are. You brought me back to the living. You were my guiding star.